go. Alright, this is Nazo with Azura casting the grand finals of Gamers 2015. We've got the best of three between Gamers Lounge and TAO Esports. TAO won the first round, Gamers Lounge fought really hard to hold and win the second round. And well, this game will decide it all. Who will win 10,000 rupees? So, we're going into the draft right now. We will be draft. And the draft does start. So Azu, can you say something? Say hi to our...
Hello there, I'm Azura and I'll be your co-caster for today. So the draft is underway now.
And as usual, we see Undying banned first, Earthshaker and Clockwork banned by TAO, and Queen of Pain banned by Gamers Launch.
That's a pretty quick draft.
Well, the thing is, these two teams have been observing each other the whole tournament. Undying has been banned in every single game. He was only let through in one game in which he won the game for his team.
Okay.
Earthshaker has been a standard ban as well. Clockwork hasn't been banned a lot, but both teams have been picking him, so I guess they've had enough of him for a while. And Queen of Pain is Queen of Pain. We see Gamers Launch start with the Winter Y1 Tusk combo, and TA goes for Wind Ranger. This is interesting.
Fairly open.
They pick up
Venom.
Venom answered. This is quite interesting. We haven't actually seen a mid-hero being first picked this tournament. We've seen Wind Ranger picked up. Do you think she'll be a mid or a support?
I think it's most likely going to be a mid. Wind Ranger's support has fallen out of the meta quite a bit. But there's this Venomancer pick as well, which I think would probably be a support Venomancer.
Yeah, most of the teams are playing support Venomancer. They've been running him in aggressive tri lanes that have been extremely effective this tournament.
Right, makes a lot of sense.
Alright, this is Nazo with Azura. Let's mute that. Casting a grand. Alright. So we had some feedback there. Right, and we've seen Viper and Lycan bans. TAO has shown that they're really good at Lycan. They've loved to pick Lycan. They won the first game with Lycan, I believe. They had an extremely convincing victory earlier on with a Lycan and a Lion. So,
Okay.
Well-deserved ban. Viper, Ember Spirit is Lone Wolf's respect ban. He's been playing it a lot this tournament and practicing Ember Spirit. Drow Ranger also for Lone Wolf. And you see them pick up Spectre now. This is very interesting. Have you noticed what Spectre's been up to this patch?
Well, yes, Spectre's really been up in the win rate and the play rate this patch. Which makes a lot of sense.
She's got a 60% win rate. And in this tournament, I've only seen her lose once. She's usually been first ban material. But this time she's been let through and Gamers Lounge just pounced at the opportunity.
Wow. So, this Venomancer is a hero who thrives in long team fights that keep going on. And Spectre is pretty much the same. So, we might just see some long drawn out team fights.
Right, with the changes to dispersion, now you see Spectre is building Vanguard more.
Right.
Which disperses Wind Ranger's damage as well. And
That's
no, Ogre Magi has been picked. The other in-meta support hero with his 8, I repeat 8 starting armor. He can actually go dive the enemy mid laner without fear of the tower.
wow. This is looking like real aggro tri-lane material now, especially since Gamers Lounge have a Spectre, who is known for being a pretty weak laning hero. So, this Venomancer Ogre Magi +1 tri-lane might be pretty scary.
Right, in the game that I did see Spectre lose, it was against an Undying Venomancer dual lane. So,
right.
since when Undying's out, Venomancer is actually the best possible pick against Spectre. As I've mentioned in the previous games, Chen actually has the second highest win rate against Spectre after Undying. And it's because when you have Chen, you can just get a bunch of creeps and snowball into her lane and force her out.
Interesting.
But Venomancer should be...
Spectre's quite weak against those early pushes.
Yeah, and Venomancer should be perfect for that. He's extremely painful for Spectre to deal with.
Indeed.
And if you have...
Well,
If you have Wind Ranger, Venomancer, Ogre Magi, that's already an extremely difficult lane to deal with. You can have Winter Wyvern and maybe even a Dazzle, but will you really survive that lane?
that's true. So do you think this Tusk is going to be an off-lane or a support hero? I haven't seen these teams play much.
Well, last game Chopper was on the offlane Tusk. So,
Alright.
and they brought that game back from the brink of loss. And Lich was also in that game. Lich was what was holding them together with his ultimate scavenging
Right.
the fights.
Lich pick makes a lot of sense. They need a strong laner in this stage to hold their tri-lane together. Of course, they could also try to dodge the aggressive tri-lane by going to the enemy off-lane themselves.
They did try that in the previous Spectre game that I saw. It was actually a coordination problem that they had where the supports didn't rotate and Spectre rotated by herself and died. And then the supports rotated in right after her and then they snagged the kill for her. So really this will be a question of how well the Winter Wyvern and Lich protect the Spectre.
Right.
And now the mid Night Stalker or the offlane Night Stalker. I find TA's draft very interesting because you don't know where these heroes are going.
That's true. Venomancer, Night Stalker, we aren't even sure. We've seen both of these heroes on both core and support roles. So it's hard to tell, really.
Meanwhile on Gamers Lounge you have all of these established heroes. You know Tusk will be going offlane. You know Winter Wyvern literally supporting the Spectre on the safe lane. And you know they want a mid next. So we should be seeing a mid ban. After they've banned out Huskar, understandably, well, Huskar is really difficult to deal with early on. Late game he's absolutely no match for Spectre.
True.
But they already have enough to deal with and they don't want a Huskar throwing flaming arrows at them, spears at them I suppose. So if you were on TAO side, who would you prefer to ban? A mid laner?
So, mid laner, maybe the Lina would be a pretty good ban, especially since she matches up quite well against the Wind Ranger, and she'll help gel together that early to mid game for Gamers Lounge. She can rotate in into the, especially if it's an aggro try, she can rotate in. Okay, it's the TA ban. That makes sense as well. TA is one of the better mid laners against the Wind Ranger.
I wouldn't be surprised if Lina is picked up because Last Chance loves that hero. The mid laner for Gamers Lounge loves that hero. And you're saying she can dodge?
Yeah, Templar Assassin with her refraction can basically nullify all of Power Shot's damage. So she's quite good against the Wind Ranger.
Right, but Wind Ranger does have that extra range, so it will be a fairly even matchup.
Absolutely. Which is why I would have preferred to see the Lina ban here personally. But let's see what Gamers Lounge is going to go for.
Well, Last Chance should be going Lina. Let's think of his other options. Popular mid laners. We haven't seen lots of mid laners this patch really. It's been fairly repeating this tournament. We see Razor. Yes, I've been wondering why this hero hasn't been picked, and we'll be seeing if he is what it takes. I think this hero should be really strong the way the current games are going.
This makes a lot of sense. Razor is a hero who loves those early brawls and he absolutely just thrives in them. So looking at TAO Esports' extremely aggressive lineup, Razor should work very well Gamers Lounge.
Right, and aside from the lineups themselves, if you've noticed any games in this patch, they all happen in a very clustered manner, and removing one hero's damage and doing AoE is extremely effective. So, and being able to survive through all of it as well, and all of those things are something that Razor does exceptionally well.
Absolutely. If this Night Stalker tries to charge in, the Razor can just static link him and then he's pretty much just useless.
Are you sure you'd static link the Night Stalker though? Because the Night Stalker is the hardest to maintain the static link on. And well, this patch the change to Razor was that earlier you'd have static link stealing through tick, but now it steals damage periodically, smoothly through its duration.
That's true. That makes sense. Oh,
And TAO picks up the Lina. So I'm predicting that this game has to be either a complete storm for TAO, or Gamers Lounge will be walking away with the trophy.
Right. It's all about how much Gamers Lounge can keep themselves together in that early game, and whether they can make sure that the Spectre doesn't get shut down.
Well, Lone Wolf certainly played Spectre before in this tournament, and he was rich. He was really, really rich the last time he played Spectre. Of course, he didn't have to go up against such an intimidating lineup. All 5 of those heroes are Spectre's nightmares, really.
Absolutely.
Of course, come late game, she'll be giving them nightmares. Alright, let's call out the teams. We have had a disconnect, so expect a pause, the customary pause that's happened at the start of every game. There we go. Alright, on the Radiant side, we see the Gamers Lounge has been extremely lucky with the tosses. They've always won the toss, and they've always picked Radiant over first pick.
Okay, that's interesting. Well, Radiant does customarily have the easier lanes, especially that off lane. Since you can pull off that side pull from the dire hard camp into the lane, it makes the offlaner's life quite easy.
Right, relative to the easy lane to pull on the safe lane in Radiant. Especially when you're playing Spectre, you would prefer to have the Radiant side. I think it's primarily hero specific. For the heroes you have on Radiant, you need Radiant. It's much harder to play Spectre on the Dire side.
Absolutely, that's true.
Right, let's call them out. We have Lone Wolf playing Spectre, Senjin playing Lich, which he was amazing with last game. Hopefully we'll see a repeat performance. Last Chance on Razor mid, Chopper on the offlane Tusk. He had a bit of trouble last game. Hopefully he'll be less shut down this time. His impact mid game is much more crucial. And RSR on the Winter Y1. Position 4 Winter Y1. So this is when you have 2 position 5 heroes and one of them moves up to position 4. A refresher orb on this hero could be really, really devastating in the late game, but let's see how this turns out.
I think this Winter Y1 is going to be prioritizing a Glimmer Cape this game as well, since it's really amazing against all of the magical damage that TAO has.
Alright, and of course the Glimmer Cape will be the first item to come out.
Absolutely.
And on TA we have Athena playing Ogre Magi, Avalon on the Wind Ranger, Jealous on the Night Stalker, Lina being played by Chibi, and Venomancer being played by Azazel. Honestly, we don't know where these heroes are going, so let's wait for them to move out before we announce that. And
well, yeah, the inventory this seems to be a support Venomancer, considering that he's bought the wards. And I'd assume that the other support would be Ogre Magi. But yeah, the lanes are still all up there. Yeah, have no
Right.
idea what.
I think this should be a mid laner because she's got a null talisman with Tango with branches, and she'll be getting tangos pulled in.
Right. So we have a carry Wind Ranger then? Alright.
I think this should be a solo safe lane Wind Ranger.
That makes a lot of sense, definitely. Wind Ranger is quite good against the Tusk, and this tri-lane is quite... Well, my only concern with this is that Night Stalker really needs his levels to be effective, especially come that first night time. And if you have this Night Stalker in a tri-lane, that would be a little problematic for his leveling.
So do you think they'll send him mid? I think in this draft I would want my Night Stalker to go mid if I was drafting, because it seems uncomfortable to send him to... He can't solo lane that. I mean, not against the Spectre lane, he can't shut them down enough. And sending him up against Tusk might be viable. Vulnerable to ganks. Yeah, solo or safe lane.
I would definitely want Night Stalker as a solo hero, certainly.
Right, so let's see.
Let's
See how these guys rotate out. Very interesting. Alright, we see a smoke coming out from Winter Y1. Hasn't used it yet. And we haven't seen the customary teleport to mid, plant a ward there. You've seen that for the past 2 games. The pros have been doing it. And I guess they tried it out and they said, okay, it isn't all that good. We aren't coordinating well enough to pull that off yet. So they smoke up behind the tier 2. They're going to be going bot top, blocking off the small camp. Meanwhile, Dire tries to do the same thing.
Interesting. Looking at this smoke, especially since they're all five manning into the dire jungle, I think that this probably would be an aggressive tri-lane coming out from the Radiant side. Well, not aggressive, well, I thought.
Yeah. Well, it would be an aggressive tri-lane, but it would be very defensive aggressive tri-lane.
Looks like this Wind Ranger has smelled it out. She is in a very defensive position.
Right. It does look like it will be solo safe in Wind Ranger and mid Night Stalker. That's how this should roll.
Okay, I could go by that.
So Avalon has been playing carry for them. Wind Ranger will have a really fun time against Tusk. Missed this block, not too terrible for them. So Lina and Razor get their hands on the bounty runes to start off with, and we haven't seen the small camp blocked. And Radiant is furiously pinging away. They're saying, wait, where are our small camps? Why are camps blocked?
Yeah, it doesn't look like they have. All the wards are on this lich, so I'm not quite sure what they have planned out. Oh, and we see the Tusk. Okay, I think.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Alright. Right, so we see a dual lane, Night Stalker and Venomancer. And we see Ogamaja rotating top.
Okay. I think these are probably the best lanes that Radiant could have asked for, honestly.
For this draft, certainly. Tusk is staying safe lane. So you see that although we thought that Gamers Launch has a static lineup, they've had the flexibility to move their heroes around. But Lone Wolf is in big trouble as he gets chased down by that orb of venom, Ogamaja with his Ignite Slow.
That is just painful.
So, as far as the Spectre goes, not the fanciest lane.
Now that I think about this Spectre Winter Wyvern lane doesn't really have any kill potential on the opposing lane.
Has none at all.
It's certainly not true. Now they're rotating over the Lich. Okay, this makes a lot of sense.
And this Lich is going to have to do some work here.
Absolutely.
The Spectre, well, I think with Spectre, the way she is right now, you don't even need to get really farmed the way an anti-mage needs to. All you really need is to not be shut down, to not be forced back to your well every single time you show your face. As long as you survive that much as a Spectre, you'll do really well. The way she's been turning out in 6.85. And Chopper gets initiated on with both Gale and Void. He may be going down for first blood here. Chopper being chased down by Shalos and Azazel going around to surround him. But he tries his best with the shards. Does try to TP out, but he will be going down to the Gale. The Gale is far too strong.
So close.
Extremely close. Barely a tick away on the Gale, but at this early stage of the game, Gale is very strong. You have to be really wary of it. We saw this in the previous game in which the Spectre lost to the Venomancer. The Invoker rotated mid. He didn't respect the Gale. He was punished heavily for it.
That kill actually happened because of recent change. So Venomous Gale, it used to not have any damage at all at level 1 apart from the initial damage.
Right.
But now it does 10 damage per tick.
Right. And that 10 damage made it counted a lot, didn't it?
Oh, and Venomancer rotates top.
May count again, but timely Cold Embrace does save him. Venom is taking a great deal of damage. And
This
Power
Wind
Shot
Ranger-
connects, and the Wind Ranger manages to get the Winter Wyvern down, but the Ogamaja will go down in exchange.
Okay.
Well, I don't think Ogre minds because he's getting 200 gold, but is it really worth feeding the Spectre?
Right. In the end, everything is to just get that Spectre out of the laning phase. And we see another rotation with Spectre.
Right, and this is something that we need to see more. When you have free lanes, you rotate down. When you have difficult lanes, you rotate out. The hesitation to do this, especially with the new change to teleport scroll where it costs only 75 gold. If you're getting 2 last hits, so if you're getting 2 last hits in top lane, if you're getting 6 last hits at bot, it's absolutely worth the cost of the teleport scroll.
That's true.
But once again, this is what we saw in the previous game, and I'm hoping Gamers Lounge doesn't repeat that mistake. The supports have to rotate down with the Spectre, or she's going to be in trouble. Because Yellows can't directly fight her like that. She's got Dispersion and a point in Desolate. But where is Lich? Lich is the man of the hour. He's the one who's doing the heavy lifting for his team in the early game. I think he's going around stacking, and do they have any stacks? No, they don't have any stacks at the... He's come back bottom. RSR getting hurt, but now he's getting hit by the Gale. He will be going down to Void. Gale, once again, it's really strong. I think that Gale being a rarer skill relatively, people find it easier to underestimate, and that's one of the strengths of the hero.
Right, absolutely. What most people probably don't realize is that level 4 Gale actually does 600 damage to all the units that it actually hits over its duration.
Right.
Which is just ridiculous.
Right, if you get it off on even 2 or 3 heroes, you're doing the most damage on your team.
Absolutely. Well, we haven't been talking about this mid lane a lot.
Right, let's have a look.
Looks like this Lina is really dumpstering on this Razor. Well, this is quite interesting. They seem to be fairly even in the last hits and denies, but if you look at the net worth chart, the Razor seems to be 800 gold below the Lina. Oh, okay. Looks like the Lina had gotten a solo kill off on the Razor a while ago. I didn't notice that.
Wow, we missed that. I guess this ward didn't do much for her. Okay, this ward did the work for her because she's the one who killed the Razor then. How do we miss that? In fact, we've been missing a bit since First Blood. Okay, we've seen what we've seen what the Venomancer has been doing. Alright. So, Ogamajay is rotating in. This tournament, we've been seeing a lot of this support hanging around mid thing, which seems to be something new. It's not happened a lot this game, but last game, we saw the Queen of Pain being really annoyed by... And at bot lane, we have a fight. We have Arctic Burn and Gale going out. And just Void is... Night Stalker just uses Void and pounds away at Lich. He knows it's night time. Now he uses Darkness. Will be doing his best to take out the Winter Wyvern, but now he goes on the Spectre. Winter Wyvern embraces herself. Arctic Blast, Splinter Blast takes out Venomancer, and Tusk's rotation makes sure that Night Stalker goes down as well. So that was, again, this is something that should TAO be doing this. They're being aggressive. They're taking out the supports, but in the end, all of that is getting fed back to the Spectre.
I don't think that last trade was worth it at all. They were playing 2v3 for most of that fight, and in the end it was an even 2-for-2 trade, which I think was definitely in the favor of Radiant.
Right, and the thing is, these add up.
If had rotated in there earlier, maybe they would have been able to get more work done.
And it was night time. Do you think that he should have initiated on Spectre first? They went in on Lich first.
I don't know actually. I think the Spectre can't really do much during these early fights, so I think it's more useful to get off the Lich and the Winter Wyvern, who are the people who have the most impact at this stage of the game.
Right, and Winter Wyvern and Venomancer are having a little showdown for the bounty rune, and Winter Wyvern says, "Go away, I want this." And, well, Spectre says, "Let's get this kill. I've got level 2 Desolate," and, well, that is a perfect Desolate. Haunted, Reality. Winter Wyvern comes in barely with the save. Tusk goes in. Ogamajay is going to be slowing her down significantly. She uses her dagger to juke and she gets the double kill off. Now she may be looking for the triple kill, but she doesn't need to, as her teammates do her work for her and earn her up in the process, so she doesn't even have to go to base at this point. This Spectre is having, for this sort of a lineup, an ideal game. She's died once, 4-1. You honestly couldn't ask for a better laning stage as a Spectre in this meta.
There is so much aggression going on. You notice all 10 heroes have been to this bottom lane in the last minute. Look at the other two lanes, they're just left empty at the moment.
And you see Arctic Burn and Snowball go down onto Venomancer and the punch just sends him flying. He's gone. And Lina says, nope, 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 nope. I'm not gonna walk into 4 heroes. We'll meet again someday. And Razor has been taking advantage of all of this in the meanwhile. He's been sitting at mid. Now he's got 2 last hits more than the Lina. So he's recovered from that early death. He won't have a problem anymore.
So the only problem was that Razor had actually also rotated in that fight and he ended up dying.
Right.
So, well, I guess he has some time to get some recovery from now.
And we see this absolutely absurd ward vision. Look at this ward. Look at this bot ward.
But yeah, the Spectre has to be the biggest winner out of all of these fights.
Right.
For sure. 4, 1, and 3. And she's sitting on the top of the net worth chart.
And looks
Well,
like she's
Lina just got above her.
looks like she's going for the drums this time. Drums is an interesting choice on her. I mean, she intends to fight with her team. And Azur is disconnected. We'll be right back with him. Well, we see this rotation at mid lane. Azur's back. Rotation at mid lane. Skirmish goes down. Winter's Curse on to Night Stalker. Perhaps that was not the best choice. If it had gone down on Lina, she would have died for sure. And Tusk with an unfortunate ice shard set. No, decides to reinitiate
Well,
on.
looks like they're still going to be getting
Venomancer.
this Venomancer. He's being slowed down by the Walrus Punch.
But he gets rescued by Lina's timely light strike array, and Azur's still having problems. Lina's TPing out, Venomancer's in trouble. Tusk and Razor went down in the meanwhile. This Wind Ranger has been playing like a sniper this game, hasn't she? All of her power shots have been from range. All of them have been landing, except for the one at bot on Spectre. Hello, are you back? Guess not. Well, Azur's having some technical difficulty. Meanwhile, top lane, we see Wind Ranger says, okay, let's go back to farming. This isn't all about fighting. But now, we have Spectre with the level 3 Desolate. She's capable of farming by herself in the jungle. New change to Desolate allows her to jungle more efficiently. And Night Stalker during the day, perhaps a bit too far out, can afford to be. Goes right back in as soon as he pushes out the wave. Meanwhile at mid lane, we see Ogamaja and Lina trying to make something happen on the Razor. There are 2 eyes here on the map, a red one and a green one. So everyone knows what's going on in this area. There is an Invis rune that we've seen by both teams, so a surprise factor for the Invis rune cut down significantly. Venomancer is bringing it out. Well, Razor manages to get his hands on the Invis rune and very narrowly escapes Lina and Ogamaja, who seem to have also wanted it. And Ogamaja drops his sentry and takes out the Observer Ward. And Razor, quite risky, looking to go into the sentry ward, but he knows there's a sentry there because they just took out the ward. Azazel now defending. Must be careful here, he may be initiated on. Excuse me while I check stream quality.
Makes a lot of sense since the Spectre still hasn't reached that peak of her strength. And so they should look to get a few towers off this.
And yeah, this is what you want to do. So you want to be punching their lanes. You want the outer towers gone, so Spectre can't farm as freely. DA was certainly doing the right thing, punching away.
My concern for Indian is that Last Chance still doesn't have his mech yet. He's pretty underfarmed, especially if you compare his net worth to the Lina. So I don't think they have any chance of fighting this until the Razor gets his mech. So they should just stay and keep farming.
Yeah, but again, that comes with the caveat that you lose your outer towers, so not very easy.
Well, at this point, I don't think they have much of a choice. Spectre should just keep going wherever there's farm, and the same for the Razor. They don't
See
have
this
any
rotation
control over
happening.
the jungle at the moment.
Mid lane,
It's, oh,
Razor is well within bounds. But again, we see TAO going for the right choice, taking out the outer towers while they can, causing trouble. But again, this also means that they're showing themselves on the map. All 5 heroes are showing on the map right now, which means the Spectre happily farm away at this bot lane. She doesn't need to worry at all because she knows that, okay, I see all enemies there.
But at the same time, look at this top lane. Neither team is actually farming it at the moment. I think that the Razor could actually just go there and keep farming this top lane and let Tusk and Winter Wyvern defend the lane, defend from the pushes.
Well, Spectre's in big trouble because all 5 heroes are rotating into her, but she's got Spectral Dagger and you can't chase her into the trees without some sort of explosion. And they get
They
dewarded.
know where she is. Night Stalker is just pinging her out.
Right. And you see them invade her jungle. They say, okay, this is when we take over the jungle. If we just let her have free farm, we're going to be in trouble later. We're going to go pound on this tier 2 tower now. But there's Windranger and Lina standing around at mid. See, Windranger's gone all the way to base to heal. So they can't really pound away at this tower quite yet.
This Razor is getting pretty close to his max, so I think that Radiant can actually defend their tier 2 towers. Push comes to shove.
Push comes to shove, yes, but do they have to really struggle with defending their tier 2 towers? Does the Dire have any method of forcing them in? Because Spectre's happily getting farm. She's been getting lane farm, which is better than jungle farm. She's farming what? She knew they were coming bot, so she went mid. She got the farm there.
Well, my concern is that if they do lose their tier 2 towers, they'd be giving up too much map control. And since the enemy team, especially since they have a Night Stalker, he can completely deny all vision from them and just gank them away whenever they even show themselves anywhere in the lanes. So I think that they do need to keep their tier 2 towers, at least at this stage of the game.
Well, as night turns the day, it seems that they were trying to push down this tier 2 tower top, but they might have to abandon those plans now because it's far too bright outside. Meanwhile, Razor continues to farm. He's got his mech, so now they're fight capable. Probably wants his treads as well for that extra survivability. And again, Spectre's uncontested, but Lina's rotating in. So let's see if Lina will find her.
She does have the Yules. She can certainly get a solo kill on the Spectre. Same time can. Oh.
She uses the light strike area. She misses the
Yeah,
Lina.
the Spectre is out. And it's a 4-man rotation to bottom, so Spectre just got away scot free. And she just went mid to farm.
Right. So the scoreboard says 8-12, but honestly, let's have a look at the charts now. We've got on the net worth graph, TAO is still leading. They got upwards of 5,000 net worth lead, but that's slightly starting to tilt. And when Spectre gets her items, that'll start to change significantly. Spectre's gone for the Yasha. What do you feel about this? The Yasha, and there's a snowball into Ogre Magi, who gets punched away, while Razor gets chased away by the Lina and Night Stalker. She uses him up, gets the stun off, he gets the mech off before she does. There's Gale and Void going on to him, not quite enough. He TPs home, and quite a deep snowball by Chopper, who punches Night Stalker, but it isn't as effective because Night Stalker is much more tanky. And well, Lina is getting hurt hard by the Splinter Blast. And now that we find TAO has been surrounded, but Chopper goes down because there isn't much commitment. But the Lich comes out with a heavy ultimate.
Is this Lina really going to be getting away with this?
This Lina is incredibly lucky. But I think that Spectral Dagger should come back in time. And Spectral Dagger gets her. And Lone Wolf is going to turn on them, but then he decides, okay, I can't do this for much longer. Leaving RSR to die. Goodbye, comrade! So I think Spectre should be going bot now because look at all this beautiful farm and there's nothing to stop her. And someone's TPing in top as well.
It's not at the moment, but yeah, the moment she gets it. Oh, but the Night Stalker rotates in. He can definitely run on the Spectre.
And he's got
But the
plenty
Lich
of
is
vision.
Behind.
Lich TP is out. He doesn't have a way to stop Lich because he just used the Void on Spectre. So indecision costs him. Alright, Spectre's going for the direct Manta. So this is certainly a new build that... Well, it isn't a new build.
I'm
What do you
not
think?
sure if I agree with this build because what really does the Manta give Spectre? Well, she can use the illusions to scout, that's good for sure. And, well, I guess he can use it to dispel the crippling fear from the Night Stalker, which is pretty decent, I guess, but I don't know, I still don't think it could be worth it. For the cost of the Manta, she could have almost gotten her Radiance.
Right. And since Radiance is always good on Spectre, you have these heroes on whom you think about Radiance, you may or may not go Radiance. Spectre's a hero on whom you always want Radiance. Like, I can't think of a situation where you wouldn't want Radiance. I was unconsciously trying to press the glyph. Well, the Jalos goes in deep, but then the Shackle into the Venomancer ultimate. This is going to hurt, but Ogre Magi has already fallen and well, they want more, so they go in onto Jalos. Avalon getting snowballed onto Azazel. Azazel's fallen down now. Avalon's been trapped by the shards. Tusk is really doing work. Chopper is the star of this game so far. All of his snowballs and ice shards have been on point. And he just got 3 heroes for them. 3 heroes caught off by 1 hero. So Tusk is doing work.
Okay, now TAO's time has ended. They aren't really that dominant early game force that they were. I think they should be playing a little more cautiously from now on. Should try to go and get one-man pickoffs and not try to go for these pushes because I really don't think they're strong enough to do it.
Right.
Razor has mech. And they have all this AoE damage from the Winter Wyvern and the Lich and the Razor Static Storm, which really is just ripping TAO apart.
Right, and we were talking about how they were doing the right thing and taking out the tier 1 towers, but did they perhaps stop too soon? Did they get a bit, okay, maybe we're going in too far and they stop pushing their advantage? Which again is why this sort of draft is so difficult to pull off. See, Crippling Fear and Void and Crippling Fear is immediately mantaed off.
Well, that's where the Manta comes into play, I guess. Well, personally, I think that they shouldn't have been sticking together as a 5-man unit after they taken the tier 1 towers. I think they should have just stayed off the map and tried to gank the Spectre, which they really didn't do, as you'd observed as well. The Spectre pretty much knew where all the enemy heroes were at all times, and she just could freely farm whenever she wanted. I think they should have just stayed off the map more. They have a really strong gank lineup. There's Lina Yules and the Night Stalker. Well, all their heroes really. I think they should have taken advantage of that.
And in fact, the fight is breaking out. We see Static Link going on. Venomancer instantly broken because of the Ogre Magi stun. And Laguna Blade taking out Chopper, so they won't have that reliable snowball and ice shards this fight. Mechanism is used, but Void is coming in and gear goes out. The Embrace saves him just barely from Salvin. The turnaround Winter's Curse. The Winter Wyvern is doing a serious amount of work here. Void takes out the Razor. He comes in and punches the Winter Wyvern, but Windranger takes her out. And well, it's a 4 for 2 exchange.
Finally something good. So
Of course.
the reason Tau got this fight was solely because they picked up the Tuskar at the beginning of the fight.
Right, the Tuskar is crucial to their initiation, and without him they couldn't hold on to the extended fight. So perhaps that's what TAO should be looking at doing from now on. Take out the Tusk first, then start a fight.
We should be looking to smoke and gank someone up right in the beginning. I think that's probably the best. I didn't quite catch the beginning of this fight. How did they actually catch up the Tusk? I saw that he was actually snowballing into them pretty much on his own. Wait, there's another fight.
And Ogre Magi gets punched immediately. Windranger is getting focus fire down. She's supposed to embrace herself. And Chopper gets earned up. He wants to punch, but there's evasion on the Windranger who finishes focus firing down the Winter Wyvern. but she will be paying with this for this with her life. As a snowball just gets him a double kill, and that's going to mellow out for a while. So, well, not really. Okay, yeah. So in the previous fight, what happened was two people rotated down from the river. Two of them rotated down from the tower in the lane. So it wasn't a proper fight in that everyone was running around in different directions. And Chopper getting used, Razor's coming in, doesn't have to use the mech because Chopper's got an invisibility at this point. He's got a Shadow Blade completed. And the shards barely missed. That would have been a dead Lina, but her movement speed is really saving her.
Solves the Dual Scepter coming to play.
Wait, the old Scepter and her Fury Soul stacks. She's really lucky she had all of those things, so she would have been dead. And she does seem to be going directly for the Aghanim Scepter now. So,
Right, I like this choice.
once again, really good for the picking off Tusk strategy, which should be the most effective way to play for them at the moment.
Yeah, actually, this Winter Wyvern is another hero who's actually been doing a lot of work in these team fights. He's been getting off a lot of clutch gold embraces, which saves some teammates from certain death.
And
If you notice, she has only little over 1000 HP.
right, and she's been getting off consistent splinter blasts. I'm sorry, and she's been spreading the Arctic Burn around. The Winter's curses haven't been significant so far, but as the game goes on, we'll start to see some of those. So halfway to the Glimmer's Cape, two or three creeps, and then she'll have a Glimmer Cape. That should be really beneficial to the Tusk.
Right.
What do you think about the Shadow Blade, knowing that there's going to be a Glimmer Cape around? Wouldn't a Blink be better?
I do think personally this game Blink would have been better. Well, Shadow Blade is primarily an initiation item, so it's good for actually getting the jump in on the fights, but looks like they aren't really getting the initiation off in most of these fights. Wait, another fight going on.
Chopper TP stop as the tower falls and he's going in, uses the Shadow Blade damage, snowballs in, but Lina saves her ally with you can't save your ally with the use. Who used him?
That was Ogre's use.
Okay, Ogre has a use. Nice. Venomancer is going to go down from this as well. Painful for TAO. They got... So, really, this is what you don't want to be doing against a Spectre, right?
Yeah,
And focus fire while Chopper just walks in and uses his punch, and now Night Stalker trying to TP out. But of course the Ultra Kill comes out for the Spectre is desolate. And I think that this is past the point of no return for TAO, because so they've gotten two major objectives, but in the process of doing so, they've given the Spectre Manta Style, a Diffusal Blade and 2k gold.
completely and totally not worth it. So this is the problem. They are trying to push into the enemy lineup over and over again, and that's simply not something they can do. They really need to smoke and get a pick off, and only then they actually get off these pushes.
Right, and as we were talking about, they have to be trying to pick off the Tusk, who once again has been doing the most serious damage to them. Yeah, as you notice, the last fight as well was lost because Tusk TP just perfectly managed to come back in as the tower fell, and then he snowballed right at them.
Right.
And, well, how are they going to deal with this Spectre? In fact, I'm wondering what would have happened if she'd gone for a Radiance or something, because would she have been able to get that Ultra Kill with the Radiance? Possibly, because its damage is comparable to the Manta.
Yeah, she's gone for a Diffusal Blade before her Radiance.
You think she's getting a Radiance though?
Absolutely, that should be her next item. I think she just feels that with all the fights that are going on, she needs to participate more in the fights, which I can't really complain with.
Of course, we can't argue with that because he's got 10 kills, most on the board. So, Lone Wolf maintaining his reputation as the captain.
That is some impressive stuff, especially from a Spectre.
And don't forget, these two teams are participating for the title of the best team in Chennai, possibly in Tamil Nadu for the upcoming tournaments in December. So, this is something important for them.
You're absolutely right.
And TAO decides to go for Roche. They should get this without much hindrance from Gamers Launch, because it's easier to get.
They should have done this a long time ago.
Right. it's 29 minutes into the game. An early row should have been extremely painful for Gamers Lounge to deal with. Of course, the golden experience is a bonus. Let's have a look at the graphs. And as you can see, the experience graph has significantly fallen from a very clearly radiant oriented perspective. And in fact, the net worth graph for all of Spectre's opulence, the net worth graph is very close to zero, which is very, very interesting. Look at this. How is this happening? So normally you see Spectre with a Radiance just exploding in net worth, not even Faceless Void or the Battle Fury being able to keep up with her. But in this game, somehow the net worth graph is even. Of course, Spectre is 3000 gold ahead of the second place Lina.
I think that's largely because of the supports of Gamerzone. Look at the Winter Wyvern and the Lich are dead last on the net worth charts.
Right, they've been sacrificing themselves a fair bit. Of course, if you can cancel away the Winter Wyvern with the Venomancer, it shows that the 3000 to 4000 lead that the Ogre Magi has on the Lich is what's making the difference. Of course,
Right, that's true.
the difference is that Ogre has been playing more as a core.
Are they gonna get this Windranger? Oh, nice.
So they're wrapping around. And they're just chasing away.
Like this out,
And it looks like the wraparound has dissipated.
I think both of these teams really need to prioritize the gem right now because they shouldn't allow especially this Night Stalker. If he had a gem, he can pretty much nullify the Glimmer Cape and the Shadowblade initiation from the Dusk, and they can get rid of all these pesky wards that are constantly catching them out. Like, look right now, this 3-man rotation completely spotted out by Gamerzone.
Absolutely.
Are they really gonna go for this tower?
But
if
you had a gem, would you be able to see this high ground ward? You wouldn't. So you need
but Night Stalker has an Axe Scepter.
Oh, amazing already. Well, he's gone for it directly after Vanguard. Interesting choice.
Yeah, this makes a lot of sense, but not without the gem. I think you really, really need to prioritize the gem if you're going for this Axe build.
The deal with this Axe build is he's looking to soak up damage. I'm sure he can soak up damage, he's got 2k health. But other than giving vision, he's not doing much else.
That's true. And the thing is, with their playstyle, they aren't really making much use of this Axe either. They're just sticking 5-man and pushing the towers. And probably if we'd gone for a Vlad's and started building an AC, that would have been far more useful.
Well, the siege has been successful and the last outer tower goes down. Of course, the only reason it was successful is that Gamers Lounge decided we're not going to initiate on them. We're going to give up this tower. So, pretty much a choice. So,
I think that's fine. They don't really want to risk anything at this stage.
they have no particular reason to. Spectre's doing well, and as long as she is. Let's have a look at what's on the courier. Yeah, she's got a radiance recipe. So that should be her 32-minute radiance, 33 minutes at worst.
Right.
She's got more than enough money for it. So that it is, the courier buys the radiance, ferries it straight back. Quite a risky path, but nothing in the way to intercept it. Well,
This Aegis is going to be timing out very soon for TAO as well. So I think that Gamers Lounge can definitely go for a smoke and look to pick off some people right after once this Aegis times out.
and that was another reason that giving up the middle T2 tower was a really good choice, because they knew that it would be a 6 versus 5 match, and all they had to do was really hold on, and TAO would back off.
They can't really push high ground at this stage. No way.
Right. So this seems to be a draft loss for TAO so far. They've had a really strong early game, but they did get a lot out of it, but have they really gotten enough to justify their draft?
I still think that they do have a chance at this stage. Well, the Spectre, if you see, doesn't have buyback now. So I think if they just go and 5-man smoke and try to pick up the Spectre maybe, then they could try to seize the high ground. Especially since they have a Wind Ranger who with their focus fire, really melts down these towers really quickly. And they have a Venomancer as well.
Of course, TAO is not out of the running. They definitely have chances.
But yeah, the goal graph is pretty much evened out now, and Gamers Lounge actually has an advantage in experience. So
This is
that's
something interesting that Venomancer just did. He dropped a Plague Ward on the high ground, dropped a sentry, and then ran and allowed his Plague Ward to take out the ward.
yeah, that's a really cute move. You can do it while being absolutely safe.
Okay, so no unnecessary risks dewarding. Inspector's rotated into the enemy jungle. He knows, right? Everyone's in our jungle. They're trying to shut me down. Well, they're not because I'm over here, and I always have Haunt. I can join the fights.
Yeah, and they know exactly where all of TAO's heroes are. They see this Night Stalker showing himself in lane. The Venomancer were also seen, and they're pretty much sure that all the other heroes are also somewhere around.
And tentative exchanges. It's a ward war happening in this tower. Once again, the Plague Ward gets dropped. So they're saying, we have Plague Wards beat Sentry Wards.
Best wards in town.
So Spectre's done a nice job pushing out top lane. So she'll be forcing a teleportation scroll from Wind Ranger. Haste Rune found by Winter Wyvern. Tusk will be happy to pick that up. He doesn't have a bottle, so he'll have to make use of it immediately. And they decide to go on the Lina. Will he catch him out? Venomancer's come back into the fray. I don't think the TAO should be hanging around here. Quite risky. And they bring a TP in. Ogre's come back. Venomancer's TPing out. If he gets seen by the snowball, very closely gets out.
Are
And
they looking to push this? I don't think this is a good idea.
I'm not sure they're trying to push it, but they are certainly creating a whole load of space for Spectre. Because now the entire TA squadron is pulled back to defend against this, and they can just rotate top and pressure top next. And they know exactly where the enemy team is going, and that's far, far away from the bot lane. And is this a skirmish? And Haunt is thrown. Chopper decides to punch Azazel. Immediately Lone Wolf gets a mega kill. And Night Stalker has fallen. I think Spectre's completely out of control at this point. Lina's trying her best, but Spectre just comes in and says, no. Last chance will take that. 4-man wipe for only the Winter Wyvern and the Tusk. Well, I think that at this stage of the game, 36 minutes in, you're dealing with a Spectre and you simply don't have enough to take her out.
Absolutely. She came into that fight after all that they blew up all the initiation, and she was in the bot lane calmly farming away, and just haunts it. This is one of the best advantages of having a Spectre.
And amazingly, I don't believe this, but TAO has the net worth advantage. Slowly creeping towards Gamers Lounge, of course, towards the 0 mark, but unbelievably, TAO is holding a net worth advantage. So props to them for that, for having a net worth advantage over a Radiant Spectre. Because she has 4,000 gold over their best hero, so maybe not for long.
But yeah, it does look like Gamer Zone's gold distribution is rather top heavy at the moment. So it makes a lot of sense. And TAO are spreading their heroes out over the map a bit more to farm. We'd seen the Wind Ranger peek to the top lane a while back to farm well. It's pretty much just 4 heroes of Gamers Lounge sticking together and farming, and the Spectre off on a lonesome.
As Spectre is wont to do. And what do you think should be going?
This is what they should be looking to capitalize off.
Hey, and a smoke gang coming out through bot lane. 5-man smoke.
All 4 of Gamers Lounge heroes are together, and Spectre has a hard backup cooldown.
Going on Razor, not exactly the best first target. He gets Winter's Cursed up, and the perfect Lich Ult comes off. 2 blacking bars are popped, and well. Doesn't look good at all for TAO. They lose 2 heroes, both to Spectre. Last chance gets 1 more, and now, well, Lina's going to get.
The Spectre, but they're losing everything.
Honestly, giving up your entire team for a Spectre is not something that can be recommended. Because the Spectre's dead, but she actually got 400 gold from that fight, so she doesn't care. She's got 5k to her name. She can buy whatever she wants. That's a perfect team wipe with losing only the Spectre. an 8000 XP swing to Radiant, and a 6000 damage, 6000 damage dealt. Not a lot of gold. This is very interesting because both of these teams are so close in net worth. There aren't many major net worth swings, even though it's clear to the human eye that Gamers Launch is solidly in control of this game.
That's true. That's true.
Now they're pinging out Roshan. They'll be taking the Aegis. So who do you put this Aegis on, Razor or Tusk?
Oh, I would actually prefer to see it on the Spectre, because with 2 lives, the Spectre can do a whole lot more of the dispersion and the desolate damage. She can sell off her magic wand, so she does have a slot for it.
Right, and
Spectre is, but she's one of the best Aegis carriers in the game. They can just put her right in the front line and deal. And even if she dies, she doesn't really care. She'll be doing 10 million damage to the enemy team just by staying there.
Indeed. Well, I was actually wondering if she had space for it. Well, she seems to have bought something. Has she? Yeah, she's bought a heart recipe, so this will be a Heart of Tarask, and a smoke goes out. And they're contesting Roshan. This should be the fight. Horn comes out. Extremely painful for TAO. They've been spotted out. Winter's Curse and Snowball go out. And the Radiance damage flying away everywhere. Avalon desperately trying to take out Roshan for the Aegis. But he's going to get mowed down in the...
No!
They're just gifting Aegis. Lich picks it up because he's afraid that Lina or Nightstalker may jump in. Of course, absolutely not an issue for them at this point. It's actually interesting to see it on the Lich, because we were wondering, okay, there are 3 heroes who could pick it up.
Oh wow. Okay. They're just having fun at this stage.
Yeah, it's really hard for TAO to win at this point. I mean, last game, you saw that the TAO squad was really mowing down, but you knew at least that if the game went really late, the Juggernaut would bring a glimmer of hope. But in this case, it's actually the opposite. As the game goes on and on, the Radiant draft gets stronger and stronger.
Right.
And now, the Aegis is doing its work, absorbing the Laguna. Well, no, there's no Laguna today, so... Racks go down handily. No fight.
Gamers Lounge don't really care. They're just hitting on the racks. It looks like TAO is taking more damage.
In fact,
Just for that.
from TAO attacking Gamers Launch and Gamers Launch just hitting the towers, TAO is taking more damage because of the mechanism and the dispersion. So, kind of painful to see at this juncture. 42 minutes in and completely one-sided fights going on. This will be all 3 sets of racks, and there honestly isn't much that Gamers Launch can be stopped by. And the GG call comes out. You acknowledge, and Gamers Lounge will take Gamers Out 2015. They prove that they are the best team in Chennai, in Tamil Nadu possibly, and we'll be seeing them again in the national tournament coming soon. TAO had a wonderful run. They'll be going away with 2nd place, and the call comes out from the admins. So, wonderful game from Spectre, 19 kills.
Absolutely. Well played by Gamers Lounge. Spectre did really well to be able to farm through that game. And yeah, only 3 deaths despite all that aggression against her.
Crazy, wonderful game to end our tournament with. So,
Absolutely.
hope you all had a bunch of fun. Chopper wants sponsors for dinner. So, well, we'll see you all in the next tournament. Thank you and goodbye.
Goodbye. Signing out. Ooh. Is mighty awesome.